What's going on, Bengals fans? Welcome to another episode of the Jake and Joe Postgame Show presented by First Star Logistics, which is the only place anything associated with a win in the Cincinnati Bengals is going to happen for the remainder of 2025. We're giving away sweet stuff presented and courtesy of First Star Logistics. He's Joe Goodberry. I'm Jake Liscow, and we are breaking down the unfortunate demise, very likely demise anyway, never say never, I guess, of the Cincinnati Bengals season as they fall to 3-7 and the death knell rings in Pittsburgh. And if you're new to the show, we've got the giveaway going for you here. So you have a winner on X. Make sure you're following at First Star Log on X for all the giveaway details. You'll see that next week we're giving away a starter jacket. You see down at the bottom we're giving away a PlayStation 5 post-game giveaway for week 13. That's going to be in a couple weeks. Next week we got the starter jacket. This week we got the Apple Watch, and you have a chance to enter on Twitter. You have a chance to enter in the YouTube chat as well. And I believe the hashtag today is hashtag First Star Logistics 1. So those of you trying to cheat and guessing,
that's
what I said. Oh, it's one First Star Logistics.
First Star Logistics. First Star Logistics.
You tricked me with holding up the 1 there, Joe. So 1 followed by First Star Logistics for a chance to enter.
I like to see you can follow rules in the chat. So I'm watching you guys and judging critically.
So far, we just got our first 3 who put it in correctly. So great chances to win on Twitter and here in the YouTube live chat. And if you're looking for work in the Cincinnati area, make sure you check out firststarlogistics.com because they're a great partner to Joe and I. Even in this miserable Bengals season, we've enjoyed our time with each other and with First Star Logistics to bring you the conversation after each week and the biggest stories that we're covering every week. And the biggest story this week was perhaps the absence of Trey Hendrickson, Joe Burrow's return. Not sure either of those things ultimately made a huge impact here on this game because the Bengals offense simply couldn't get going in this one. And we've been talking so much, obviously, about the defense over the difficult season and how bad the defense has been. And I think I saw somebody in the chat who got it right. The Bengals set a Super Bowl era record in allowing 27 plus points per game for however many consecutive games they've done it now.
14
this week, 14 of those are defensive points by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but nonetheless a record. And the defense in this one did enough early, certainly, to give them a chance. And if the offense had been humming the way that it had been in recent weeks, we're probably talking about a different game. Maybe if the refs call that weird 4th down conversion correctly in the first quarter, we get a different game. We're going to talk about officiating in this one more than I think we have in quite a while. Ultimately, though, the Bengals offense just lays an egg. Protection issues. Joe Flacco looks hurt, especially after that roughing penalty from TJ Watt, where he lands with his full body weight and Gene Steratore, for some reason, disagrees with the call in the field. Steratore didn't have a great day either, I would say. The offense just didn't make plays in this one, Joe. We talked about, the importance of the run game. They bust off one big run, I think. There are a handful of successful runs, a lot of second and long runs in this one, but mostly Joe Flacco couldn't get the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and the Steelers' adjustments on defense appeared to be enough to bottle this Bengals offense up this week.
Yeah, and we mentioned that in the preview show, right? We warned about a couple of things. The Steelers made sweeping changes after that last game. They really wanted to change what they were doing on the back half, how they were defending Chase and Higgins. I think that was clear, especially in the first half, until the lead got comfortable. I thought they have – I tweeted about it, but all the moves they've made at safety, Kyle Duggar makes 2 plays, one huge play that pretty much started the fall of the game being over.
That ended the game.
Yeah, you can say it did. Yeah. And then Jalen Ramsey playing safety as well had a huge impact on the game, and then was ultimately, I have no respect for Jalen Ramsey at this point.
Gets ejected, and somehow things start going better for the Steelers after that.
I know. They clamped down after that, but they were feeling it. They were amped. But you're right. We also warned that the offense and away games in Zach Taylor's career have been much worse. That the signs of cracking for the Flacco offense were there, and we were concerned about it. And I think we got the regression to the mean today for sure of what was normal expectation for getting 41-year-old Joe Flacco or 40-year-old Joe Flacco to be your quarterback. And he just did, and maybe it's because he's hurt, right? But I also thought that the Steelers did a really good job of trying to take out T and Jamar, and left it up to Yoshi getting these third down targets, to Noah Fant getting these targets. I mean, there were even times where they were running routes with Drew Sample and Tanner Hudson, of course, Chase Brown getting funneled a bunch of targets. And I'm like, yeah, they're just really not going to allow you. And I think you brought this up in the preview show as well, that, teams have figured out, let's just double Chase and T and see what happens. And I won't be surprised if we go back and watch the film and that's exactly what we got from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I was curious. I was just going to check to see if Chase Brown led the Bengals in targets for back-to-back games. He didn't. Jamar did. Jamar had 10 targets,
Wow.
but he only caught 3 of them for 30 yards. T. Higgins catches 3 of 8 targets. Chase Brown catches 6 of his 8 targets, just 28 yards per catch for Chase Brown. But Chase Brown goes for 99 on the ground, which is highlighted, of course, by that 35-yard run, which I would love to talk about and talk about how, Marius Mims made perhaps the best block of his life in the run game, washing TJ Watt out of the play. Maybe we'll look at it. But kind of an afterthought when you got Joe Flacco going for 5 yards per attempt. This is the bad version of Flacco that I think we've seen in the last few years of his career, where when things aren't good, when there's pressure, when his
primary read isn't there.
He's okay coming off the primary read though, but I think it's mostly like a pressure thing in this game when his receivers aren't winning. I think that's probably the conclusion. I was trying to figure out what it was. I think it's when the receivers aren't winning, this is what it can look like for Joe Flacco. And, it started out pretty good. You get a coverage bust that ends up with T. Higgins taking a scramble drill in Jack Sawyer's coverage of all people. Mm-hmm. And obviously T. Higgins is going to be the defensive end in space. You get a number of big plays for Andre Yosevach on that first drive. And the first drive actually looked pretty good. And then after that, Flacco takes a hit and the accuracy is diminished. The ability to put the ball, I think, downfield where he wants to put it. There's a Jamar Chase deep ball that looks like it flutters and comes up well short. There's a ball to T. Higgins that I think is not as accurate as Joe Flacco would have liked. And the pressure starts to bother him quite a bit. But the one takeaway that we talked about that I thought early in the game went one way, late in the game
looks like I'm pointing at a trash can on the side there. That is the Apple Watch we're giving away at the end of the show, not a Bengals trash can, which, hey, first star. Maybe if the season continues like this, maybe we should get some Bengals first star trash cans.
Are you reacting to
the side there? The side. It looked like a trash can. It's an Apple Watch.
Did someone say that?
No, it's me. I couldn't help it.
You're just distracted.
Okay. I am distracted.
We talked a lot about the need for guys besides T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to step up in this game. Didn't happen enough. Happened early, and then disappeared, and nobody was winning on offense. So for all this talk we've had about the defense, you finally have an opportunity to do something where the defense is getting stops early, and you just don't get complimentary football, and that's been the case all season for this team.
Yeah.
What are you distracted by now? What are you laughing at over there?
The comments. It is a trash can. I thought it was a dumpster. I'll take a dumpster, and I'm with them. That would be cool. But it's there up now, Jake. But yes, I would like to talk about the defense more because both teams scored on their opening possession, right? And I'm thinking like, here we go again. We're going to get this game from the other week. And then we didn't. For pretty much the rest of the half, the Steelers did get a field goal at the end on Aaron Rodgers' last drive, aided by 6 penalties on that final drive. But the defense at times, I want to speak on because it was both sides. It was an improved performance because they've been horrendous this year. I thought Myles Murphy had the best game of his career. I think it was 6 pressures. PFF had him for 6 defensive stops. He had a sack as well. I thought Joseph Osai was super active. Yeah, here's Murphy right here coming from the outside who was wide, and they're running some 3-4 stuff. You see McKinley Jackson there, 3 defensive tackles. So we asked to get him out wide. There they are getting him out wide. I thought it was helpful for the guys up front. It was helpful for Joseph Osai. So I was happy to see these things. And I thought DJ Turner was playing well. I thought Dax Hill played really well. And then what you end up with is the Steelers, and I posted where the Steelers were targeting, right? And I think they go 11 of 12 in coverage versus the linebackers for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it's just continuous. And it was Warren Burks there at the end, too. They started sprinkling Warren Burks a little bit more. And it didn't matter.
He also was playing early. He was playing throughout the game. Yeah.
But I mean, when they went to a 3-4 look and stuff, I saw Burks in there next to Knight or next to Carter. They kind of rotated. But they it didn't matter who was at linebacker. It's like the defense wanted to funnel things to the middle, and that's where you're weakest. And it was just another game where Geno Stone is super soft. I mean, just coming in and barely hitting these guys. It was one of the first plays of the game. I thought they could have had a stop after like a 2-yard gain, and Stone comes in so soft. And that just ended up being the rest of the game for him. And it's been this whole time he's been in Cincinnati. The linebacker, especially Barrett Carter, I thought Knight actually had quite a few hits that looked really physical and strong and fast downhill. But then Carter didn't look like he could get out of the ground. There was one play I almost clipped and put it up just because but I didn't want to dunk on him too much, because after he just couldn't break down an open space and get these guys and make tackles in the open field, looked so stiff and unagile. There was a play where he's lining up and his foot sticks in the ground and he almost falls while he's just lining up. And I'm thinking, he is swimming right now, man. He is worried about making a mistake, or his feet are just heavy. He hit that rookie wall potentially already. It looks bad. It doesn't look like he's climbing over it. Sometimes you need enough reps to finally start making plays. Maybe Knight's getting close to that, but it doesn't look like that for Barrett Carter at all.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 different plays that I can recall off the top of my head without thinking too hard about it, where he has to get a guy down in space. Pat Freiermuth jukes him into oblivion on one. He ends up on the ground. The other one, he is there's the first touchdown of the game for the Steelers. We can look at it. Actually, I have that one.
Okay.
This was very annoying to me, and the reason that it's annoying to me is there's no real misdirection here. There's no eye candy. There's no play action. This is just, we're going to send a running back into the flat. There's no wash for Barrett Carter to get through. His responsibility is at running back, and he bites as if there's play action.
I know.
I don't see anything here that resembles play action. Takes a jump up as if it's play action, and Gamble just fast releases into the flat. There's nothing here to hold Barrett Carter. Get that one little false step where he bites. There's not even really a move.
Because look at the angle right there. Right away, he's running upfield, and then
I don't know, man. This is just so disheartening to see. This is as basic as it gets. It is a running back fast to the flat. Your job as a linebacker on this play is to get over there, contain the flat. You should be making this tackle for 3 yards at worst. And instead, you're slow to react, which means you're a step behind. You take a bad angle. You have multiple false steps here. And when you're starting the game that way, it doesn't really get better. The Pat Freiermuth play, obviously, everybody remembers.
Darnell Washington.
He's involved with the Darnell Washington stuff too. I mean, the whole team took turns getting dunked on by Darnell Washington a little bit in this one. But
that's the Kyle Brandt angry run of the week there.
It's got to be, right?
Has to be.
Yeah.
After Kyle Monangai was 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the same issue. It's the same stuff. For like the same. So here's the thing with the defense this week. It was not as bad as it has been.
Right.
Statistically, eye test, whatever. They made some plays this week that they haven't made in previous weeks. But all the issues are still there. So it was better, yes, but all the bad stuff was still happening. They still missed 15 tackles. 4 of those, according to PFF live charting, 4 of those attributed to Barrett Carter. 3 of those attributed to Geno Stone. 2 of those attributed to Oren Burks, who's your veteran off the bench. The one guy who had been in missed tackle hell for the Bengals this year, who wasn't in this game, was Jordan Battle, who I thought actually had a reasonable game. He tackled well. I know he had the injury later on in the game. And Dax Hill was really good in this game. Cam Taylor-Britt had been playing relatively stable football until this game. Looks like a pretty severe injury for him.
Could you see what happened on Cam? His foot like folded weird when he planted on it.
Yeah, could be broken foot, could be turf toe, could be something around the ankle. It was described as a foot injury. Don't know anything more than that. Haven't seen. Maybe Zach Taylor's press conference apparently pissed some people off as well, because he started it out by saying something to the effect of like, I don't think the score reflected, which is a thing that you can say. Is a thing that you can say, and probably like isn't factually incorrect, but nobody wants to hear it. But Myles Murphy in this game, you started talking about him singing his praises. I thought in the first quarter, from the jump, evident that Myles Murphy was creating problems, was compressing the pocket. Credited by PFF for 6 pressures, had 6 tackles in this game. All 6 of those defensive stops, which means that those tackles were plays that were not considered a successful play for the offense. And I think that PFF uses the yards yards metric for that, not the EPA metric for that. So if you're familiar with success rate, awesome game for Myles Murphy. One that I hope we look back at and see as a potential breakout game for him, because if that's what this
light bulb
is
moment
in the long term, and you get a Myles Murphy who's going to be consistently muddying the pocket, who's going to be making tackles in the run game, then maybe there's something you can build on there. But I admit that I think we're grasping at straws with this defense right now. The defensive line was better, and they got a lot of pressure when Rodgers was in the game. And then things got out of hand in the second half, and it wasn't really there. But you do have to acknowledge, I think, when the plays happen. And there were some positive plays for Jordan Battle, for Myles Murphy, for Dax Hill, and some of these guys on defense in this game.
Just not enough. It really came down to the 2 turnovers, which, the first one, obviously, where Duggar returned for a touchdown. They returned 2 for a touchdown, but that first one was still while the game was active. And the Bengals really on defense, despite their flaws early in the season, they had some turnovers, and they really haven't had them lately. They just haven't been there. Not only have the sacks not been there, but can we force a fumble? When's the last time a forced fumble has happened? Can you get your hands on the ball as a defensive back? Can somebody get their hands on the ball? Doesn't seem like they're ever even close to it. So, and we talked about this in the preview show too. One of the early stops out, you're like, how are they going to get stops? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers maybe misses a throw, right? And that's what it was early. Yeah. And it was like, all right, it's not because they're defending these passes, knocking them away, getting to Rodgers, getting sacks. They did get more of that than normal pressure up front. But I don't think we're grasping at straws by saying, good game for Myles Murphy, despite all of the other bad. Because if it was Shamar Stewart having this game, I think we'd say, there he goes. There's Shamar Stewart, because it's less of a profile for him. We haven't seen him as much. But with Murphy, some people will probably be hesitant because, we've seen a lot of bad out of him through 2.5 years so far. But at the same time, it's these guys sometimes that are like this, we've seen coming out of the draft, if they do start to get better, it does happen later in their rookie contracts than it does early. So, I just, there's not enough on defense, even with the highlights we're going to give, that makes you think that they can pull this thing together still. And then the offense, it's just, and games like this where a team can shut you down or take out your top 2. And what'd you say? They were 6 of 18 throwing their top 2 receivers. Like you're never going to have success. That's never going to be a successful strategy or formula for the Bengals offense with the way it's constructed. Even with Chase Brown getting 120 something total yards, it just wasn't enough. And it is why, if people were saying, why bring Joe Burrow back? It really doesn't matter. Like, maybe it does matter in a game like this. The game might have went differently if Burrow was in there. They may have had a more functioning offense while the defense was being okay enough. Maybe you could have put pressure on Mason Rudolph to where you actually have to make him play rather than they put Mason Rudolph in the game. They just condensed and tightened everything and ran it down your throats and play actioned and picked you apart in the flats. That would be a much different game if your offense has success and you're pushing the ball.
Mason Rudolph's stat line, 12 of 16 for 7.9 yards per attempt and a touchdown, with probably 100 of his 127 yards coming after the catch.
You got an ADOT on that? You got an average depth of target?
I probably can get an ADOT.
It felt like it was low. It felt like it was super low.
Clicks. The average depth of target for Mason Rudolph. You got a guess?
3.1.
Very close. 2.9.
2.9. Jeez, it felt like that.
Oh man, that's good. Oh, I mean, it's bad. It's terrible, but it's hilarious. I'm trying to figure out if I have a yak number for him, and I don't think I do. But okay, we can figure it out. We can do some math. So he had 12 completions. He had 16 attempts for an ADOT of 3 yards downfield. So his average downfield attempt was 48, right? No, 16 times 3.
I have full confidence
48
in you,
yards.
Yes.
I guess probably was averaging 5 yards after catch per attempt. Give or take. I don't know. That's pretty fuzzy math. Either way, I mean, he comes into the game and the Steelers convert a 3rd and 17, a 3rd and 10, and a 3rd and 10 on checkdowns. I mean, at this point, the wheels are off for the defense, and the defense looks like it has for the last 5 weeks. Like, they can't make a play to win the game if they have to. I mean, that's still true, but they did enough early. To your point, let's play the hypothetical game. If Joe Burrow had been healthy this year and never been injured, they're probably +3 in wins. I believe that
I was going to say at least 2.
I would say Jets, this game, because I think that they would win this game with Joe Burrow, frankly. I think Jets this game at least. What are the two that you were thinking of?
I was thinking either Jets or Bears. One of those you get because of just, hopefully playing a little bit better in the situations that you needed to, whether it was starting early versus the Bears or the late versus the Jets, and then this game. So if it's 2 or 3.
Well, then I think you have to consider the Jake Browning games too. I think they win at least one of the Jake Browning games if Joe Burrow's playing quarterback.
Maybe the Broncos game.
Broncos or Vikings. Like, do they have that kind of disaster?
I forgot about those. Those were this year.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like
sucks.
6 weeks ago, man.
Is it enough though to even put them in position to have a playoff chance? I think that even with those, you'd be sitting there saying they need a lot of help, and maybe it's because the division sucks, they would have a chance.
This is where I was going. Our resident pessimist, JLock14, shout out. This is all just cope. Where I was going, JLock14, is they would still be frauds because the defense would still be the same. Let me finish. I'm gonna let her. What's the Kanye line? I don't even remember.
I'm gonna let her finish. Right.
I'm gonna let her finish, but let me finish. They would still have one of the worst defenses of all time.
Yeah.
Of course. Like, that would still be the same.
Yep.
But these games would go differently if Joe Burrow were out there. Would we be talking about them as playoff contenders? We'd be saying, maybe they can steal one.
It'd be like last year how we felt.
We're not making anything up about this defense, man.
No.
We know what this defense is. Come on. I'm done. I'm off the soapbox. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, the reason why we talk about positives on the defense, because I know everyone wants, not everyone, but a lot of people, we want to see heads roll. Like, they need a fundamental change from the organization top down. If that includes Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, and everyone below him making decisions, great. I'm in. But at the same time, I posted this yesterday on Twitter. We don't want Shamar to miss the year because you need Shamar Stewart next year. You need Miles Murphy next year. These guys are under contract. Jordan Battle is under contract for next year. Dax Hill is under contract. DJ Turner, Demetrius Knight, Chris Jenkins, TJ Slayton, Barrett Carter, BJ Hill. All of these guys are still here under contract for the defense. You think the Bengals are cutting them? They're not cutting them. So maybe BJ Hill, maybe they go and get a defensive tackle, but they're not cutting all those rookie contract guys. So we need them to play better. Why we spend 5 minutes talking about Miles Murphy and why it matters? Because we need him to play better. It is important if you want Joe Burrow in this offense and whoever is the GM and whoever is the head coach to have success and lead us to where we want to go. We need a lot of these guys on defense to be better than they are right now.
Minimal cap savings, by the way, for cutting BJ Hill.
Yeah, it's not happening. You got like 8 guys that are still going to be central parts of this defense next year.
Yeah, they paid BJ Hill a big signing bonus. They could save a lot of cash, and that is king, of course, for the Cincinnati Bengals. But he got $16 million up front out of the $33 million contract. So half of that contract he appears to have received this year, and he's only owed $8 million cash for the next 2 years. That cut would be surprising. And I don't think we're talking about cap cuts today, Joe.
No,
I think we will get there.
That's the point, though.
A point made, point heard. I think Orlando Brown does get into that conversation as well. He was struggling in this game. Again. Offensive line, honestly disappointing. It appeared that they had been making some strides. I thought they were better against Pittsburgh the first time around. On the road, though, things kind of coming apart for them. I do think that there's something to the home road issues for this team that continued again this week. As I was looking more into that, Joe, for everyone that saw the preview show, we talked about or didn't see the preview show, I guess. We talked a lot about the Bengals home road splits, and they're like almost a full yard worse per play on average on the road versus at home. They're averaging like 5 less points per game. Then I looked at just this year, and I think this year is skewing that
it's
a little bit.
It's striking.
Because it was like, what was it, like 7? Because all the Jake Browning games were essentially road games.
They were.
Right? The Jake Browning games are at Minnesota, at Denver, and then at home against Detroit when they scored 24 points. But the road games this year have been 10 points at Minnesota, 3 points in Denver, 18 points at Green Bay, and 17 points, of course, in week 1 against the Browns. But the Browning games this year on the road, they averaged 6 points per game. Am I seeing this right? 6.5 points per game. So like that's going to skew the numbers a little bit. This week, you see the issue.
3 different quarterbacks on the road, though, for Zach Taylor, and you're not putting up points.
It's true. And part of it is the opponents. They have historically and consistently struggled in Cleveland And Cleveland, we looked at their splits. Their defense always significantly better at home. They have a real home field advantage on defense. I think the same is true for the Steelers when you have TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, and all those guys on the defensive line who were problems. And I thought they would be problems the first time they played.
Yeah.
They were not as much of a problem in the Bengals win. Significant problems this week.
Yeah, and I thought Fairchild, I'll be interested to see his grade and watch his tape and things like that, because I did try to watch when he had Hayward in front of him, because Hayward's given a lot of guys problems and still one of the best players in the league. And I thought Fairchild was fine there. But when they went to a more pass rush situation, more athletic guys came in, that's when I thought Fairchild was struggling a little bit more.
Yeah. We can shout out this Amarius Mims block.
Great, let's do it. I'd love to finish this way.
Because to your point earlier, and this is kind of the last point here, like, what are we looking for the rest of the season, right? This is one of the questions that people ask at this time of year. Why should we continue?
Why are we watching?
Yeah, Jake and Joe. Why should we continue to watch the Bengals? Not to mention Jake and Joe. Why would we watch Jake and Joe for not watching the Bengals? Well, like you said, Joe, there's players that are going to be on this team for the foreseeable future. And let's say, and this is wish casting, don't get me wrong. Let's say ownership does what everybody wants here, and they go out and hire, name your coach of choice. I'm not even going to say one. Imagine it's the best case scenario, whatever that coach is in your mind. And they go out and hire whatever the best case GM is in your mind. We're fully going off the deep end here, right? Let's say they go expand their scouting department and add 10 scouts and 3 analytics staffers. Let's just say that happens. None of that's happening. Maybe some of it's happening, but let's just say all of it happens, right?
Yeah.
Even if all of that happens, there's still players under contract next year.
Yep.
And that's the point that you're
That's the
making,
point.
Joe.
Yep.
And that's why we're looking at Amarius Mims sending TJ Watt into the netherworld.
Because we need Amarius Mims to do this. Honestly, if you watch the film, if you stay with him, the things you don't get are the high-end blocks very often with him. And I think this is one of his best run blocks. And run blocking too, the flashes for him are few and far between. It's nice to see him throw Watt inside like this. Shout out to Sample also keeping a hand on 50 for long enough for Chase Brown to get by.
Nicely blocked by everyone on this one. I think it's even well blocked by T. Higgins. Doing enough on this play, or maybe it's on. No, it's T. Andre doesn't really get.
He doesn't
his guy,
block
but
well
T does enough. T does enough, and it's nice to see Joey Porter miss a tackle because I don't like that guy.
There was another play too. I don't know if you saw it, where Chase Brown goes off the left side, and it's Yoshi and
Let's
Higgins.
take a look, because Chase Brown I thought was really good in this game.
He was. I wish they could have got to him more, but they kept getting in the second and long and giving him those runs. But watch Yoshi on this one too. Yoshi just has no idea where anybody is. He could have kept blocking there too. Keep blocking. So we're evaluating the young guys here. Chase Brown's going to continue to probably be the running back 1 next year. But does Yoshi have to be wide receiver 3 on a day where he had some good catches? So I don't want to, it doesn't have to be a Yoshi conversation. But I think when we get into evaluation mode here, everything's on the table. We need these guys to show signs of improvement. It's why I watch tape. Why would you watch the tape on a game like this? Because I'm going to watch everyone. I'm going to watch Jalen Rivers and see if there's any signs of him getting better. I'm going to watch Dylan Fairchild. I'm going to watch if there's anything salvageable. What does Orlando Brown Jr. do well? Can he still be salvageable in a starting left tackle for one more year while you have him under contract? These are the questions, because you can't sign 20 new players.
Yeah, they will have to do this thing incrementally. That's just the nature of it. It's very hard. I'm trying to think of examples of 1-year overhauls on competing teams. The one that actually comes to mind, I'm sure there's others, and maybe you'll think of them while I'm talking about this, is the Cleveland Browns, the year they went out and signed 3 defensive linemen. And they really they needed someone to go with Myles Garrett. And I think this was when Baker was still with them. Or maybe it was right after he left. I can't remember. And I know the Browns are not an example of a paragon of success or anything like this, and they're not somebody that I would be looking to emulate, but they did really fix their pass rush in one offseason. And they did it with free agent signings, like the Maurice Hurst signings, or, go back to the preseason when Kyle Duggar got benched by the Patriots, and we were talking about Kyle Duggar, hey, maybe you go get Kyle Duggar and bolster your safety room that way. And then the Steelers do it. And then Kyle Duggar beats your expletive on Sunday and ends your season.
We did talk about Duggar, didn't we? Why not?
Specifically, we talked about Duggar because he was a solid player.
Still young enough.
Would have made them better.
I've got a different, when you start thinking of example.
Team that did it in 1 year.
I was thinking Chargers when bringing in Harbaugh. I was thinking you're going coaching, not personnel when you said it. So I was like, oh yeah, do we have a Brandon Staley right now with Zach Taylor? was okay. They were knocking on the door every year, but they kept having terrible luck with the Chargers. And then now they go and get Harbaugh in here and get the right staff and get the right program together. And it seems like the Chargers are better. I know I'm saying this the day they lost to the Jaguars.
You could get a safety that can make that play. What do you think? Can we tackle the 300-pound tight end who catches a check down on 3rd and 17 before he takes it 15 yards after the catch?
How can't we convince him to run through that? Like, why are all of the guys for tackling do this? Even Dax, who's been like, he's had a couple of nice tackles for a loss this year. We're knocking down the stiff arm and then going for it. We need to run through this. Go low. Don't even let him stiff arm you. He's 6'7".
I am sympathetic because Geno Stone's giving up like 100 pounds in that exchange.
Maybe
and that's
more.
tough. But they sure couldn't get Darnell Washington on the ground.
They could not. And the guy runs a 5'2".
Yeah. And like, how is there nobody helping? Like, how is no one else able? Like, yeah, great. You force a check down. This is all these third downs in the second half. Not to belabor the point here, but yeah, great. You force a check down on 3rd and long.
Man coverage.
And then there's just, there's just nobody.
They're still running down the field.
He's at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Playing man coverage. Brutal way for this season to end, Joe. This isn't even really a fight. The offense just kind of disappeared. At least the offense was giving us some fun the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And this week we got one drive. Got a blown coverage. It was honestly a pretty impressive drive. They're converting 3rd and longs. Get T. Higgins on a busted coverage.
Yeah. And I wasn't feeling it even on the first drive. Were you also having like, this is a little too difficult.
This is bad.
Yeah, this is not looking good.
And then they scored, and it's like, okay,
right.
Maybe they got something here. And I liked the decision to go for 2, and I hated
the play call.
We
should talk about that.
Play call.
The decision is fine, right? It's good. It's normal. Teams are making that decision all throughout the league. It's never been more. Teams are converting more than ever on 1 yard to go plays. I understand why going for it, but the Bengals in short yardage, I'm kind of weary of. And then you run a wildcat. You got to keep the threat of a throw when you have these receivers.
Going wildcat on the one just makes my skin crawl. Like it's such a bad idea. Like we're 15 years past when that worked. You know, this is just not a good idea, especially when you're getting out physicaled in the trenches.
Well, they saw Caleb Williams catch a touchdown and catch a couple of passes. They're like, maybe we should get Flacco out on a route. But some people are still mad at the decision. There's two different things. The play call is one, the decision is other. To me, I've got no problem with the decision. Like
I actually like the decision. I actively was like, this is a good decision. You get a yard,
anger is
you know
a
what kind of
on
game
the
this is going to be.
My play call anger is like a 9.
Yeah, the play call is. One last thing I wanted to look at because this is funny to me. Then we'll get to our giveaways. This is immaterial to anything. I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun here. Drew Sample. I've talked often about how Joe Burrow has Drew Sample blindness. I don't blame him for it.
They're playing with 10 guys when he's out there sometimes.
This is why I talk about it. And this is a funny play because this goes for a touchdown. But Drew Sample could be part of the quick read here. This is well before the ball comes out, and I have a video of the play as well that we can look at here.
There was another play where I commented on it.
Yeah, and that's where I DM'd you, or no, I replied to it with this because it's hilarious to me. Joe Flacco doesn't consider for a second Drew Sample here, and there's literally no one covering. Literally, these two guys are covering 86. They're covering Noah Fant here. These three guys are watching Jamar Chase, I believe. Yeah, they're all chasing Chase.
Yep.
And 33 is Jack Sawyer is trying to run with T. Higgins. Literally, no one is covering Drew Sample on this play. He is open in 20 yards of space around him. And there's no consideration at all for the ball to go there. And let's just take a look at the play because I think it's funny. And
can I stop for a second? Edward goes, terrible decision. We're idiots, Jake and Joe, right? No, take the points. Edward's saying take the points in the comments. Taking the points is going for it from 1 yard. You should get those points easy. Those are easy points. That is taking the points. Don't be a scared fan, Edward.
I agree with you. Look at this guy.
Yeah. He's a big neon sign that points at him.
There's not a thought. It's a good decision from Joe Flacco. Don't get me wrong. But this is hilarious. Good decision from Joe Flacco, but Drew Sample invisible.
The chat's still going. If you think, I'm going to one last point. If you think going for 2 was the wrong decision, you're not watching other teams. You're not watching the rest of the league. I know it because they are all going for it, and they're converting most of the time.
You get into a situation, and here's Zach Taylor's thinking on this play. One, analytically, you have a really good chance of converting a 1-yard play for 2 points. You get an extra point. That's good. A point is a good thing to do. 2, you are in a game where you just watch your defense get shredded. And the last time you played this team, you won 33-31. And your last 3 games, you've watched your team lose games 39-38 and 47-42.
Right.
Why in the world would you have any belief?
They should go for 2 every time, even from the 2.
Yeah. Play call, terrible. That decision, terrible. The decision
Play
to line up and go for 2. I'm living with that.
Yep.
No doubt. Yeah, you're right, Dan the man. Analytics and percentages mean nothing without an intelligent play call to go with it. Yeah.
Sure.
And Zach took it on the chin after the game for not that one, but for the going out there to try to draw him offsides play. Man, we're just gonna have to end the show here, Joe. But like the Bengals line up, go under center, and try to shift 3 times and point to the quarterback's head.
That's right. We didn't even talk about this.
It is the most telegraphed draw you offsides play in football, especially.
And you're away. The crowd is going. What are you going to listen to your hard count? You're on a silent count, if anything.
They did get the Steelers to jump offside once. So I guess knowing that had happened earlier. Yeah. Let's get to our giveaways here. We're off.
And then, then the 2 timeouts on that drive, they gained like 1 yard after Ramsey gets kicked. I mean, that was a complete failure by Zach Taylor.
You get a terrible spot on the Milton Williams run.
Delay a game.
And then instead of challenging it, you take a timeout.
Right, challenge it there because you could still throw the challenge flag.
And then you can't get a play in because it's loud because the Steelers fans are like, hell yeah, we got a guy thrown out. Let's go crazy. This is what we like. We're Pittsburgh Steelers fans. We like it when our players throw punches. Let's go crazy. All right. Let's give away some Apple Watches.
All right, let's do it. Who wants an Apple Watch?
Anybody want an Apple Watch? Last chance in the chat.
This one. Sarah with an H goes by Dave 27. Sarah with an H.
I think that's then Hera.
Hera is our winner. Congratulations, Hera.
If it's with an H,
right?
Or maybe it's Saha. I'm not sure.
Saha.
We also have an Apple Watch to give away. Congratulations to Sarah with an H, Miss Dave 27 on Twitter. Make sure you keep an eye on the YouTube comments. You can also check our past videos. There will be an instructive tweet as to how you can reach out if you are the winner to claim your prize. We'll also have an Apple Watch to give away for those of you in the chat. Hashtag #OneFirstStarLogistics. If you have entered the hashtag, let's get to that giveaway now and see who is going home happy. Not me.
Not me either.
I'm not happy. Maybe one of you who's maybe also at home will be happy.
Could I have commented and won? Jesse Wider.
Wider?
No, Wider.
Jesse Wider won. Appropriate that someone with a one.
Mm-hmm.
In their username would win the First Star Logistics giveaway of the Apple Watch. Congratulations to Jesse and to Sarah for your victories. Something the Bengals haven't really figured out how to do without Joe Burrow. We're back for the biggest stories this week as we continue to spiral into maybe we get to a mock draft this year at some point, Joe. Not something that I had thought about before this very moment.
I will say at this point, I do think a Jake and Joe off-season show where we fix this thing is in order.
I would agree with you there, Joe. Appreciate everybody who hung out with us here. Congratulations to the winners. Make sure you keep an eye on @FirstStarLog on Twitter for all the giveaway details for next week and for Thanksgiving when we'll have that starter jacket next week, that PlayStation 5. I can't believe it's on 5. I remember when the 3 came out, Joe. PlayStation 5 for Thanksgiving. And we have, of course, the midweek shows for you as well with all the biggest stories and the things that we're going to be watching for, really, the rest of the way here, the things that will matter the rest of the way. We'll try to distill the things that matter to Joe and I. We'll talk about those stories for you for the rest of the year. And as always, our great partners at First Star Logistics great partners for us, could be a great partner for you if you are looking for work in the Cincinnati area. Check out firststarlogistics.com for all the job postings with one of the fastest growing companies in the Cincinnati area. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. We'll see you on the preview show next. For Joe, I'm Jake. We'll see you next time.